Let's take a vote. Has anybody heard about a talent shortage? Anybody? Just a little bit? So here's the problem. How do you stay on top of this talent shortage? It's in the news. I turned on the Today Show today and it was on. So there's lots of talk about the talent shortage. So one of the things that we can do, and Kevin talked about it a little bit, but it was about we're sitting on gold mines. We have so many people already in our databases, so how do we get to those people? How do we even get to those contacts? So there's been many conversations I've had just this week at Staffing World where people are like, you know what, my recruiters keep wanting to post jobs and they keep wanting to find more candidates, but we're sitting on candidates already, we're sitting on contacts, referrals, etc. How do we get to those? So let's see. And you can find this information underneath the matching systems on the ecosystem out there. So let's recap. If you haven't heard, unemployment is at a 4%, and the talent shortage is, it's getting worse. And there's so much competition out there for talent. So we've got to really look at redeploying our contractors that we already have, or our talent, or reusing people that are rolling off of assignment. Kevin talked about the technology that can actually look ahead at where people are coming off of assignment and use the chatbot to engage with them. So why does it matter? Once again, this is a sample from the Manpower group. Just in 2018, they were just emphasizing again that there's talent shortages everywhere. You can see on the map, there's all the countries, especially in America, Latin America, we're getting hit hard, and Europe as well. So we need to try to leverage our internal database. So how do you start? Let's think about process. So I'm a technology girl. I've got my process person in the back of the room, and she's really process enabled, and together we can be very dangerous. But think about process. If you fine tune the roles to be and look at specific candidate care items, then you can really look at all those items and where you're touching the candidate, and look at the recruiters. Maybe they need to stagger their hours. Maybe you need to centralize things and other functions to get your recruiters more face-to-face time with individuals versus doing all those manual tasks that they need to do. And then you've got to couple that process with the technology. So people have probably heard people, process, technology. I'm going to focus on process and technology. So you can leverage the text messaging. We've highlighted that in the past on this panel. We're really not going to, the bots are showing you how to communicate with the texting, but there's capabilities there that you can leverage. The CRM, use those CRM tools, and then marketing automation. So Tom talked a lot about the sales process and how you can leverage those CRM products. You can also capitalize on those within your talent shortage. So couple of things. TechMark. By show of hands, who have attended a Tech Park item out there? So that's great, because ASA was asking, should we bring this back this year? And I think we had a lot of great discussion about that. And I think it's nice to get in those small groups and have more detailed conversation. It's a lot in a 10 to 15 minute time frame. But one of the things you can do is you can check out the convention expo, you can go to the tech park, but I'd also look at your candidate journey. So if you haven't done it yet, map out your candidate journey and find out those touch points and include all the touch points. So a lot of times, you just kind of go high level. You need to go deeper, because then you can actually understand the emotional highs and lows of that candidate journey and figure out what touch points mean the most. And those are the ones that you want to apply your recruiter's time to versus those things that don't matter as much to the candidate. Then you can actually go out there with your processes and then start evaluating the technology to determine which ones should you look at to capitalize on those points that you need to work on the most. So there's a couple. Once again, I mentioned CRM. So we have CRM out there. You can look at those particular products. It's out there on the ecosystem. You've got the ATS. Everybody has an ATS just about, right? And so what are some of those things that can complement those areas to help with this talent shortage? So we're going to watch 2 demos. We're going to first start with Sense.
Every week, more than 3 million people go to work as contractors, but more than 15% of those contractors drop off after the offer and went on assignment, and more than 70% never get redeployed. Losing those contractors dramatically increases the cost to hire. Time and money are spent hiring and training your contractors only to see them leave. Outreach is important. But what if you had a company to help through the whole life cycle of a contractor? Candidates to redeployment and keep them engaged. There is a way. Welcome to Sense. It's a platform solution for recruiting, staffing executives, contractor care, and operations teams. You can engage contractors throughout the process with content that is mobile, web-enabled, event-driven, and automated. Sense has automated outreach through text and email to keep candidates and contractors engaged. It can look for attrition signals that will trigger an action to retain your talent. And it has analytics to see who isn't engaging with your messages. This allows staffing companies to be more productive and quickly resolve issues. Sense reduces turnover, increases redeployment rates, and gives a real-time 360 view on the pulse of contractors. It also has an immediate ROI, builds loyalty to the firm, and helps staffing firms retain talent. Get started today.
So Sense really expands on our capabilities to stay in tune with our candidates and our people that are currently working, those people that may not be working yet for us. Maybe they're more passive. You can create that relationship with them and stay in touch with them, pushing valuable information out there to them. And that way, when they're ready to move, you've got them, as well as redeployment of your existing team members that you already have working. So now let's look at talent circles and see what they have to offer.
Can a talent community strengthen your applicant tracking system? Absolutely. Your ATS doesn't have to carry the burden of sourcing and recruiting alone. It can integrate with your own private branded talent community. Just yours, branded for you, and only used by you. Why recruit for other companies or pay big fees just to find out the candidates aren't even yours? Talent Circle's community works in harmony with your ATS. How? Start by bringing your resume bank back to life, automatically importing past applicants' resumes into your community and re-engaging with meetings, email, or blogs. Your ATS jobs will be imported nightly so that no matter where a job seeker views and applies, it goes directly to your ATS. Now you're free to use the social cloud for sharing jobs, finding the best talent, and creating a skilled talent pool for your future. Let us show you how it can work for you. Contact us at sales@talentcircles.com or call 888-280-0808.
So we showed you 2 different aspects. So one is continuing engagement, and then Talent Circles is creating that community. And that's kind of a buzzword right now in the organizations across the world is how do we create those communities? How do we socialize with them? How do we stay in touch with them? Those 2 tools actually give you 2 different aspects of that. So now we're going to roll into some cool stuff. So we've always been challenged as a panel to talk more about the middle office or back office functions. What can we offer them on the tech panel? So a lot of things get really glamorized on the front. I call it the front office side. So the ATS systems, all that cool texting material, all that type of stuff. And so in the past, we really haven't been able to highlight a lot of back office. And so it's kind of fun this year that we're able to actually bridge the gap and do that. But through RPA. So RPA is really looking at those repetitive tasks that take away from high-value recruiting activity. So every single recruiter at a desk is probably doing something just because they have to do it, because they have to copy it from one place to another place, or whatever the case may be. Or they've got a screening that comes in, they need to get it into the other system to make sure they're compliant. There's lots of repetitive tasks. I got to create an invoice. Oh, what do I got to do with that? So there's lots of ways that you can use RPA. So the biggest thing is really understanding what RPA is and how it can benefit your company and knowing where to start. So first, the definition of RPA. So really it's the virtual workforce, and it's powered by robots, don't be scared, and it's to perform those repetitive tasks. So think about this. If you got recruiters out there that are just taking data from one place to another place, and you're looking at third-party systems or there's specific rules they have to follow, this is where RPA can really come into play. And just by a show of hands, does anybody have some RPA? And it's different than chatbots, what Kevin was just talking about. Does people have RPA in place? I see a few hands there. So those are the guys you need to talk to, right? All right, so let's expand on why or reasons we should use RPA. And to do that, you need to understand what a robot doesn't do. It doesn't sleep, which is great. It doesn't make errors. Now, some of us don't make errors, but some of us do. It doesn't call in sick. It can work more than one shift. It can work 24/7, as much as you want it to work. It doesn't resign, so it's not going to call in and say, I really don't like you, I don't want to come in. It doesn't have holidays. It doesn't need refresher training. Now, there's a caveat to that. If you change the process or the system, or even the Excel spreadsheet that you're working from, you have to change the RPA. It's not going to do it on its own. It doesn't cause HR issues, and it doesn't need physical workspace. You don't have to sign a new lease. You don't have to find new bodies to fill that space. Some of the benefits, and I caution people with the first one. So yes, there could be an FTE hour reduction, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So at Kelly, we've actually implemented 40 different bots by different providers. And what we're doing is taking those people that were performing these tasks and training them or having them do other things. Training them to be recruiters, training them to do other things, and it's just a huge success. There's faster turnaround time. Once again, errors. A robot tends not to make errors unless you did not program it right. And then there's an audit trail. You can actually see exactly what it does, and there's a low cost of entry typically. So this is really hard to read, but it's common items accomplished by RPA, and it just gives you an example of here's before, here's after. So really it's where there was several steps that had to be followed, and after RPA you had less steps. So you can look through that, and there's different areas, and you can think about those areas when you look through the slide deck later. Now you got to remember, once again, RPA is not a fit for everything. So where Kevin really was showing you the chatbot, it can actually be that customer service. RPA can't. It really isn't good at doing providing customer attention. It doesn't give personalized responses. Okay? It doesn't resolve complaints, and it doesn't deal well with exceptions. So you've got to take that in consideration, and that's important when you're looking at using RPA. So where does RPA fit? Once again, think repetitive tasks. Everybody's got them. Data sets, structured data sets. They love structured data sets. Process, is it standardized? Have you been able to refine it? If there's 3 and more, this is a good indicator. If you've got 3 or more people doing the same thing, you probably need to look at that. And I mean the same exact task. They got work instructions, they got to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and keep going. And then if there's lots of data input that is prone to error. So this is another tool that we've used, and it really gives you a scale of 1 to 5. What you want to do is if you're evaluating a particular area that is possible candidate for RPA, you want things to fall in the 5s. And that tells you it's a definite fit. And as you move down the scale, it may shrink or change your decision. And then what we've done is we created a 4-quadrant matrix. and we said, okay, what is easy to do? What's a huge return? Where does it fall on this scale? And that's how we started out with the RPA process. And we started out with, 2, and then it just kind of grew, and now we've got a whole department. So here's some use cases. Once again, I mentioned earlier that we were going to look at some back office. It really fits well with a lot of the back office practices. So invoice processing, accounts payable, expense reports, those type of thing. It really fits well there. But it also can fit well on the HR side or the staffing side. So employee onboarding. We found it very helpful with screening. So as you're getting background screens in, sometimes your ATS system isn't integrated with everything. If you've got clients that want specific things done, you can use the RPA to take those from one system to another. Or maybe a client is sending you an Excel spreadsheet, and you need to take that data and get it into the system so your recruiters can actually work on it. RPA is a perfect fit for that. So now we're going to take you through a few examples. Some of these are consulting agencies that have actually done RPA and can help you, and I'll show you later kind of a scale of how to use those. And then some of these are actually RPA providers. So let's take a look at KPMG.
This demo shows how an RPA tool works. RPA can be applied for the automation of transactional, rules-based tasks, where structured data and clear predefined rules and parameters are used. The solutions are easily and quickly designed, tested, and implemented. They are designed to require relatively low investment or expenditure. This demo shows how a process such as the creation of invoices is executed by an RPA tool. You will see how routine activities can be easily performed by the RPA tool based on predefined rules. The RPA tool used in this demo is Blue Prism. The key steps for the creation of invoices are as follows. In this process, the invoice request is received and opened, relevant data is entered into SAP, and the invoice document is created. At the beginning of the process, the software robot opens the correct environment in SAP and logs in. An invoice request is received by the software robot via email. The robot opens the email and the attached Excel template and scans this thoroughly. Different checks are performed by the robot to determine whether the data from the Excel template is of a certain quality. The software robot runs the transaction code for the creation of invoices in SAP. Subsequently, the invoice data from the Excel template is copied and pasted into the relevant fields in SAP. The robot recognizes if essential information is missing in the invoice request. If this is the case, the robot sends an email to the invoice requester with a request to adjust the specific invoice data. When all the data is entered in SAP, the robot creates the invoice by running the correct transactions. The invoice is then correctly saved for sending. At the end of the process, the robot sends an email to the requester with confirmation that the invoice has been created and moves the invoice request to the relevant subfolder in Outlook. Additionally, all the used applications are correctly closed. You just saw an example of how robotics can be deployed for a finance process. Next to the finance processes, there are many other opportunities for RPA that exist across other functions within the organization. Examples of these include customer care, business operations, IT, and HR. So, are you on the road to robotic automation? Success here isn't about if, but when. Now is the time to get started.
So I'm going to give you a disclaimer. So you saw the process and how it was going through that. that actually is slowed down so you can actually see what it's doing. So when we first built our first RPA process and we had to present it to the executives at Kelly, we actually had to slow it down because it goes way fast, really fast. And that's one thing you need to make sure that your systems are ready for, meaning your network, your infrastructure, and you've got to program that so it not slows down the process, but how many do you want to process in an hour? Because it could really tax your systems. So you got to think about those things. So this is Latitude. This is another consulting agency, just like KPMG. Let's see what they have to offer.
Entering data manually requires way too much time and resources. And the tools that should be helping you force you to depend too heavily on your IT. But what if it didn't have to be that way?
Introducing Latitude's robotic process automation solutions that efficiently perform repeated manual tasks for you.
All you need to do is map the process and sit back while the software robots work efficiently in the background. Whether it's desktop or back office work, modern, legacy, or mainframe applications, our robotic automation solutions can handle them all. Its software user interface is easy to navigate, and zero coding means your operations team always has full control. It's an affordable investment that is guaranteed to give you incredible returns in less than a year. So go ahead, try the RPA Advantage from the experts. Call us today.
Visit www.latitude.com today.
Now Latitude, there's different products out there, and Latitude, once again, is a consulting agency just like KPMG. So they're using some of the robotics processing systems that are out there in the market. But one of the things that you saw there's sometimes certain tools, they will have forms that you can create, and some tools that don't require an IT, some require an IT. So you've got to weigh that into your decision, and I'll give you some tips and tricks on that. Let's watch another one on Automation Anywhere.
Enter the world of robotic process automation. Imagine a business process that occupies most of your day at work. Repetitively collect PDF attachments from emails, extract data from those PDFs into Excel, log the data into web-based forms, and send out confirmation emails. Your team is spending a significant amount of their time on these mundane processes, and it seems never-ending. Now, what if we could train software robots to take over these mundane processes? Software bots can be trained to execute your repetitive daily tasks while you invest your precious time in work that adds more value to your business process. Let's see how we can train the software robots to perform a business process. We instruct the bot to do each of these activities. And then deploy. Now sit back and watch the bot relieve you from the drudgery. Saving the PDF attachments into a separate folder? Done. Extracting data from PDF files and consolidating them in an Excel file? Done too. It can even automatically sign into the web-based CRM. Picking up data from Excel and logging it into the web-based CRM is a breeze, error-free, and at such a rapid pace. Finally, it completes the business process by sending confirmation emails. As the bot takes over your repetitive tasks, you can now focus on the more rewarding and higher value-adding activities.
Okay, So the next one is showing an expense report, and it's online, so you can actually play the demo, but it's showing you how an expense report, somebody can actually create an expense report. So that's another option. So let's go ahead and skip that one, because we're running short on time. We still have some cool stuff in the lightning round that we don't want to miss. And then we'll skip this one, Capgemini 2. So both of those are out there for you, so you still have them. So one last thing, how do you start RPA within your company? Know the space. So we've given you the starting grounds for knowing the space. Establish your objectives, and then determine your delivery mechanism. And you can use those consulting agencies over on the left-hand side to help that. Okay?